Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver and on this channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these weekly live Q&A sessions, I answer your most burning questions about living, studying and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that if you have a question that you would like me to answer live, please post your question into the Google form, which is linked in the description box below. The reason why we do it this way is because sometimes it's a bit difficult to follow along with the live chat, for example, and if you post your question into the YouTube live chat, it is highly likely that I will miss your question. So again, if you want your question answered live, please post your question into the Google form, again linked in the description box below. Before we jump into the first questions of the week, let me just super quickly link the live stream into the Discord server that we have going on. And if you're not yet a member of our Discord server, I really highly recommend that you join. The idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in living, studying and working in Finland. And in the server, we have a bit more personal discussion about all of these topics. And for example, I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams on the server. So if you want to be here in the live streams, if you want to be the first one in the live stream every single week, the server is definitely a way to go. So if you're interested in joining, there's a link in the description box below as well. Before we jump into the first question, let's also say really quickly hi to everyone who has just joined. What's up? We have at least yes, welcome once again to the live stream. Muhammad Sabur, welcome to the live stream as well. We have Joan, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. And we have Uvindu Pereira, welcome to the stream as well. What's up? Hopefully everyone is doing good. Hopefully you guys are staying safe and healthy. And hopefully, you know, everything is great in general. Yes, I made I made a really small graphic to just remind everyone to post their questions into the Google form, again linked in the description box below. And without any further ado, I think that we should just jump into the first questions of the week. And by the way, guys, let me know if the audio is not loud enough. I will adjust the audio so that you guys can hear me. Anyway, the first question of the week actually comes from Fleischmann, yes, once again, who comes from Hungary. Fleisch is a regular on the channel, again, which I do appreciate. And he's still in high school and is interested in doing a bachelor's in Aalto University in the degree in the field of computer sciences. And the question is, if I search for a part-time job for half an hour or an hour every day, how much time would it take to get one? This is actually a really interesting question, and I would actually look this this topic in a bit of a different from a bit of a different angle. So there are many different estimates on how much time it actually takes for you know, anyone to find a new job. And for example, Steven der Horst, who is a Dutch very successful entrepreneur living currently in Finland and working in HR, trying to figure out ways for international talents to find jobs easier. I actually interviewed him on the channel, and he said that a new international student in Finland who has never been here before or lived here before should prepare him or herself to look for a job at least for 6 months before, basically from the start of starting to look for a job until signing one. So basically what I would say is that in order for you to spend your time efficiently, I would suggest that you don't necessarily look for a job half an hour or an hour per evening, but rather dedicate yourself full evenings, maybe once per week or so, to finding new jobs. In addition, I would also make things a bit easier for you and actually sign up to different job hunting sites where you can actually get notifications of new jobs that are suitable for your skill sets and your background. These basically make it so that you don't have to actively look for jobs on different websites, but rather you will be alerted to the jobs once they actually come up. On the other hand, if you think about, for example, the multiple different steps in a recruitment process, first of all, writing a good CV and writing good application letters or motivation letters, those can really take a lot of time. And I really especially recommend that you guys spend a lot of time on writing really good and personalized motivation letters. So I'm sure that you have already heard, if you've ever looked for a job, is that when you write a motivation letter, you should always personalize that to the companies that you're actually applying for. This is especially true in Finland, and it is really easy to see if a motivation letter is basically just a copy-paste generalized motivation letter, and those are very easily disregarded compared to any motivation letters that have been personalized to the company itself. So just take that into account. Having said this, I would spend more like one evening a week just digging deep into the job hunting process, because if you spend just an hour and a half, it might be that it's not that efficient, because it might simply take half an hour to even find new interesting positions that you might want to apply for, and then the application process might take an hour or two or even more. So I would not split your job application process into such small pieces. Rather, I would spend more time, spread a bit more evenly over a longer period of time. Jai Lord saying in the chat, no, finally I made it to your stream, but I don't have the time. But your channel is really amazing and you explained it enough, so I'm not as scared to move to Finland for study. You're amazing. Thank you. You are amazing for hanging out. Try to drop by the next time. So again, once again, 5:30 p.m. Eastern European time every single week. And again, of course, if you have any questions, just drop them in the Google form and I will get to them, for example, next week. Or you can always watch the live streams in the replay. Also, just gotta say really quickly, hey to Bavia, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream again. And Nabil, welcome to the streams as well. Hopefully you guys get some value out of these streams. All right, so we got a really good question regarding the explanation that I just had from Joan, asking what is a motivation letter? That's actually a really good question, and so whether or not you have applied for a lot of jobs, especially in more corporate settings, you might or might not know what a motivation letter is. Motivation letter is basically there are multiple different terms for a motivation letter. Some people say it's an application letter, job seeking letter. There are multiple other terms for it. But basically, a motivation letter is a one-page application, which is usually written in a specific format alongside, and which is also sent to the recruiter alongside your CV and other needed documents when you're applying for a job. So the idea of a motivation letter is not to say the same things that you already mentioned in your CV, but in a longer written format, but rather a motivation letter is supposed to help the recruiter understand a bit more about you as a person, as an applicant, and as a professional in your field. And there are multiple different things that you need to take into account in a motivation letter, especially when you're applying for a job in Finland. And actually talking about that, if you guys are interested, and if you're looking to actually find a job when you come to Finland. I've mentioned this in my previous videos and live streams, but if you're interested, there is actually a full-on job hunting course that I'm actually building together with an old colleague of mine who has over 10 years of experience in the Finnish recruitment field. And the idea of the job hunting course is to help you guys speed up your job hunting processes by months, so that you can actually get faster to a job instead of struggling trying to find where and how to look for a job in Finland. So we're basically condensing almost 20 years of recruitment and job application experience or job hunting experience into this course into around 5 hours. So I think it's going to be super valuable. And if you're interested in hearing more about this course, we're most likely going to publish it by the end of the summer. And there's a link in the chat if you want to sign up for the waiting list. This isn't, if you sign up for the waiting list, you don't sign up for the course, but rather I will then send people information about the course via email as it's coming closer to being finished. So there. Then actually there's a really good second question from Lam Yuang, talking about the same topic. Can I work in Finland without having to obtain a degree? It is extremely unlikely that you would be able to work in Finland without obtaining any kind of a degree. In Finland, working with a high school degree is pretty much, it's not, of course, impossible. Some people do have just a high school degree and they work some jobs. But if you want to have a good career in Finland, you need to have some kind of a degree, either a university degree or a university, or basically master's, bachelor's, or even a vocational degree. However, it has to be official. In addition, if you want to move to Finland, you basically need to have some kind of a degree. If not, you will most likely not get a residence permit here. So this is why coming to Finland to study a university level degree is a great way to enter the job market, because then you will have actually done a degree in Finland, and that makes you a bit more interesting to Finnish employers. Cool. All right. So the next question from the forum comes from Zoe from South Korea. And Zoe is starting school this semester at Aalto University, doing her bachelor's in internships and summer jobs. Electrical engineering and system engineering. Awesome. So the question is, I'm starting my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and systems engineering this August at Aalto University. I wonder what is the best time for engineering students to apply for internships or summer jobs in Finland. I'm planning to study Finnish, but I prefer to search for jobs that use English. I hope I can gain some work experience before I finish my bachelor's program for my resume. Thank you for your help. Zoe, this is such a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. Plus, you actually are in the exact, you're absolutely correct in what you're doing. So this applies to everyone who comes to study in Finland. What I recommend you to do is to follow Zoe's advice and basically try to already accumulate some work experience into your resume before graduating from your bachelor's degree or master's if you come to do your master's in Finland. This makes it much easier for you to find jobs after graduation. And Zoe has a really good question about at what time of a year should you start applying for summer jobs and internships in the field of engineering. However, this actually applies to almost every single major field in Finland. What I would say here is that internships and summer job applications happen usually twice per year. Depends on the company as well as the field, but usually the first rounds of internship applications happen in early October to early November. So it's quite early. So basically right at the start of the new academic year. So if the academic year starts in the first week of September, you need to start looking for jobs or internships already a month after the academic year starts. So that's actually quite early. And usually the companies that look for interns during this first or the autumn period are especially companies working in the finance sector and many different business sectors, but also, for example, in construction and in engineering. So, but those are usually really big multinationals or really big Finnish corporations. The reason why they look for interns so early in the year is because they are looking for people who are very competitive. So for example, most of the big financial companies are looking for interns already in the autumn, because if they do not do that already then, they will not have the option of selecting the best applicants because all of their competitors are already looking for people in autumn or in October, November. So then Christmas or December is pretty quiet. So there's no applications during December because we usually have very long Christmas holidays in Finland, and all the HR people want to have all of their autumn internship applications already done before Christmas. So the application process usually starts around October and then ends before Christmas. And those internships, which are applied for in the autumn, they can start already in January. Some do. However, many of them start only, almost a year after, so around the next summer. So they look for people really, really early. However, then most companies, I'm talking about the majority of companies in Finland in most fields, look for interns and summer employees during spring. And usually the spring job application process starts around the end of January, or around the midpoint end of January. And if you start looking for jobs already at the end of January, you are one of the early birds. And usually that application period lasts for 3-4 months, all the way, sometimes all the way up to the end of May, or some companies might be really, really late and still look for people in early June. However, I would say that you really want to focus on job hunting if you want to work during the summer between January and March. Because if you haven't applied for jobs already in March, by the end of March, you are most likely going to be too late. You have to consider that if you apply for a job in March, the job is going to be allocated to someone at earliest a month later. Usually the application process takes at least 1 month in Finland, so take this into account. But yeah, really, really good question, and I definitely recommend that everyone should apply for internships and summer jobs during their studies, because it definitely makes it easier for you to find or build your career in the future. Awesome. First of all, Chris Quevedo, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much. That is highly, highly, highly appreciated. I thank you so much for the support. As always, you guys are the only reason why I'm able to do this as my main job full time, which is really awesome. It's kind of a dream. So thank you very much for the super sticker. I really need to get some kind of a sound thing for super stickers to show my appreciation. But Chris, that is highly appreciated. If you have any questions, let me know. I will definitely want to answer them. Then we have Conscious Cookie Monster, welcome to the stream. We have also Parth Shevli, welcome to the stream as well. We have Technical Booth, what's up man, welcome back to the stream. Jet Koti, welcome man, welcome back to the live stream as well. We have Nana Boateng, and we have, hey, what's up Roy Rissanen, welcome to the stream again. It's been a while, man. Roy is saying, hi Oliver, good to see you. I'll send a message about housing, 25 more days. That's interesting. Roy, can you just let me know in the mail, where did you send me a message about the housing? I haven't received anything. So did you send me an email or, for example, a message on LinkedIn? Just let me know. And I haven't looked at my email for a while because of being quite busy with my job. So just let me know where you actually sent me the message. I will get back to you. Moment. Once again with my ludicrously large juice pint pint of juice. Zoe, thank you so much also for the super sticker. Thank you very, very much. Once again, I do appreciate you guys, the support. That is highly, highly appreciated. Zoe, if you have any more questions, let me know in the chat. I would love to answer all of your questions, even if they come into the chat. That is highly appreciated, as always. Let's see. We have Shock Boss Abdullahi. Welcome to the stream as well. We have Aniket Putani, welcome to the stream as well. And then we have Bendela Charan. We have Dr. Gary. What's up, Dr. Gary? Awesome to have you here. We have Osidoro, welcome to the stream. Kira, what's up? Welcome back to the channel or to the stream. And Cheesy, welcome as well. Zooming from Chicago, Illinois, USA. Awesome. Hey, welcome Wayne Smith from Illinois. That's or Smith. Welcome Wayne from Chicago. That's actually awesome. Awesome. Welcome. And we have Jesus saying, hello, Oliver. In your opinion, should a CV contain a picture of the applicant or not? That is actually your personal choice. In Finland, by law, you are not allowed to make a selection or a choice in from applicants based on their image. But many recruiters in Finland do encourage you to put some kind of a picture because that gives shows the recruiter some kind of it gives you a bit more context on who you are. However, that is your personal choice. It will not reflect negatively on your chances of getting a job if you do not include a picture in your CV. Personally, I have had a picture in my CV as long as I can remember. But if you do insert or include a picture in your CV, please make sure to have such a picture that it reflects the job that you're applying for. So if you apply for a job in finance, perhaps you should avoid wearing a t-shirt or a hoodie, maybe a just not necessarily a black suit with a tie, but anything a bit more clean. But then on the other hand, if you're applying for a startup job, for example, in a gaming company, maybe don't wear a tuxedo in the picture. So always think about the context and try to, if you're thinking about what kind of a picture you should actually include into your CV, one really good hack is to actually go to the Instagram page of that company, because many companies in Finland use Instagram as kind of their insiders channel where they post pictures about their job and employees, and try to look how the employees actually dress for their job in their day-to-day jobs. And that is actually a very nice hack for you to figure out how to not only what kind of a picture to take, but also how to dress into the interview as well. So that's something for you to think about. Wayne saying, despite the name, I have Finnish roots. Oh, that's really cool. There's actually a lot of people in the States who actually come or do have Finnish roots, and there's actually can't remember the city or the county, but there's somewhere in the States there's actually a city, I think, or village that is was established by Finnish people, and there's still a lot of people with Finnish roots living there. Can't remember the name, but if you just Google it, you should find something. Anyways, going on with the Google form, or continuing with the questions. The next question from the Google form comes from Nana Boateng, who comes from Ghana, and Nana is starting school this semester, awesome, at the Savonia University of Applied Sciences, doing his bachelor's in engineering. Specifically in the Internet of Things, IoT. Awesome. And the question is, I visited the embassy, Finnish embassy, and received a negative decision due to my finances. Well, that sucks. All right. I'm going to visit the embassy again for my second interview. What's the possibility of me getting a residence permit on time, since I'm already done with 1 year of studies online with the school? And the school is also saying year 2 should be in person. That's actually a good question. So basically the question is that there was a negative decision first time when you visited the embassy, and now you're going there again. And the question is, what are the chances of you getting a residence permit early enough for you to come to Finland for the academic year? That's a good question. What I've heard, actually, last week I heard that the Finnish immigration service has actually sped up the residence permit process because of COVID. So they have actually made some changes into their process, and it seems that after you get all the things sorted out with the Finnish embassy in your country, the process is actually quite a bit faster now with the Finnish immigration service. So taking into account that it's June 3rd right now, and the academic year starts in September or late August. I think that if you have the time pretty close to today, I think that you should have good chances of actually being in Finland on time. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure, of course, depending on the school, but I do know that many of the schools are going to start their academic year online. especially with the with mass lectures where you have a lot of people attending at the same time, because it's just safer. So even if you are a bit late to the start of the academic year, I think that you should be fine anyways. Again, nothing is of course 100% certain, and I cannot promise you anything, but this is just the gut feeling that I have, because things have gone to the positive direction in Finland, and we're actually doing really well right now with things here. So hopefully, I'll keep my fingers crossed and thumbs up, and hopefully you will get your residence permit sorted out on time. All right. The next question from actually from the chat comes from Chris, again, who's a member on the channel, and just plugging a selfless plug here. If you want to cut the queue and get your questions answered faster than normally, you can either post a super chat, super sticker, or become a member on the channel by basically clicking the join button below the video, I think right there. And Chris, who is a member on the channel, is asking, I do have a question. How comprehensive should a motivation letter be? Really great question. Of course, this depends on what kind of a motivation letter you have right now. But basically, it's 1 page max, absolutely max 1 page, nothing more. If you have, even a bit more than 1 page, no one is going to read it. You have to take into account that recruiters usually have just 30 seconds to maybe a minute or two to, go through your CV and motivation letter. And if they're interested, then they will spend more time on it. But you have to take into account that the number one thing is in a motivation letter that it is not supposed to regurgitate or tell the same things again as what you told in your CV. All the skills and all your experience is already on your CV. So your motivation letter should be something, it should be a story. It should be telling about you in such a way that it's first of all, it separates you from the pack. And secondly, it actually connects your skills and the expertise that you have listed in your CV into the job in question. So what I would do personally is basically look at the different requirements for the job and try to think of the most important ones and that which you fulfill really well, and then try to write a story. Your motivation letter should be a story about you and you as a person, your personal development, and how your skills actually tie in to the job requirements and why you would be the perfect candidate for the job. So not comprehensive, not detailed, but interesting, memorable, and how should I say, something that should distinguish itself from the pack. So if it's boring and just informative, no go. I would rather go big and bold and try to just separate yourself from the pack. And for CV, good second question. For a CV, 2 pages max, I think is a good guideline, but I would, if you're able to, I would try to condense it to 1 page as well, especially if you don't have much experience previously. So for example, if you're still a student, I would keep your CV in just 1 page. However, if you already have 10 years, 5 years of experience working in your field in different jobs after graduation, sure, then go over 1 page. But if you, for example, you have to think about the job as that you're applying for. So this, again, of course, this information applies to everyone, no matter your field. So if you're applying for a job in finance, let's say you want to become a consultant in the financing sector. Your previous summer jobs working in construction doesn't have anything to do with the job that you're applying for. So unless you don't have any other job experience except the construction jobs that you've done, I would leave them out or delete them from the CV because they're not relevant job experience in terms of the job that you're applying to. Sure, when you're early in your career, all the job experience is relevant. However, the more experience you accumulate, the more open I would be to just dropping out the extra stuff from your CV to keep your CV simple. There's no point having jobs listed in your CV that you've done 20 years ago. No one cares. They're not most likely unless everything is relevant to the job that you're applying to. So, however, I think that these are good general guidelines that you should follow. All right. The next question from the forum comes from Fleischman, yes, once again, again from Hungary. And the question is, thank you for the informative answer. You're welcome. But could you please suggest such job hunting sites that you mentioned? Sure. So I actually have a video. It might be that you have not seen the video yet, but just a moment, I will pull it up. There you go. So if you go on to my channel after this live stream or during the live stream as well, while listening to what I'm saying here, go and check out the playlist from the channel titled "Working in Finland as an International Student," and here you can actually check out this video: how to find part-time jobs for international students in Finland. There is in the description box here, there is actually a list of different, right here, there's actually a list of different recruitment services or recruitment websites that I would recommend you to check out. Also for startup jobs and communities. And there's actually a link to a recruitment app that you can download. It's totally free to use. And I really like it. I've used it myself. And I would start with these at least, and check out the entire video because I explain how to use all of these resources that you know are listed, so that you know which pages are good for what kind of jobs, etc. So I would start from there. Cool. All right. The next question comes from Dovlat, who comes from Russia. And Dovlad has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a bachelor's in engineering. And the question is, hey, hello, I've been admitted to study at Aalto University. Hey, congratulations, man. That's awesome. But my, first of all, congratulations. You are, one in a very small group of people. Aalto is the best university in Finland in engineering. So you should be proud of this already on its own. However, the question continues, but my family cannot afford to pay for both studying and living. And I want to study at Aalto. I can study at Aalto if I find a job during my second year of study. So I want to be sure that this is possible to find any kind of a job, even if I don't know Finnish. Right. So the thing, Dovlad, what I would recommend you to do here is, again, go to my channel. This is a very complicated topic. The issue here is that you need to figure out whether you're able to actually find a job that pays you enough to pay for either your living or for your studies. Of course, in this case, your tuition fee is going to be the most expensive part of your studies or of your stay here. So, and unfortunately, you're not going to be able, as a bachelor student, to find a part-time job that is going to pay enough for you to pay for your tuition fee at Aalto University, because it's way too expensive. However, you will be able to find during your second year or before your second year, if you work hard, you will be able to find a part-time job that will pay you enough to pay for your living costs. So again, there's a difference here between your living cost and tuition fees. So that's something that you need to take into account. And Dovlad, what I recommend you to do here, again, is go to the channel and actually look up from the search bar here, look up cost, and then check out this video. How much does it cost to live in Finland as a student? Because in this video, I actually go through one by one all the different costs that cost of living in Finland as a student in Excel. So you can actually see a concrete example of how much it can cost to live in the capital region. Do note that this is a bit of a more expensive this is the costs that I'm talking about are more on the expensive side, and you have to take into that into account. After you have watched this, please check out this video as well. Can you pay university tuition fees with part-time work in Finland? Because here I explain the reason why it is not possible for you to pay your tuition with a part-time job. So watch those two videos, and if you have any questions about them, about those topics, please post a question into the comments in those videos, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Hopefully this helps you at least with the next steps. But once again, huge congratulations on being admitted to study at Aalto University. That is already a really, really big thing. And I really hope that you and your family figure out a way for you to cover your costs in Finland. All right, the next question. The next question comes from Rahul, who comes from India and is applying to study a bachelor's in business administration, preferably at a school near Helsinki. And the question is, hi Oliver, I reached out to you the last time and now I have decided to apply in the next application period to study in Finland. Awesome. One more person turned to the dark side. Yes. I'm planning to take up the pathway program of education. Awesome. That is really great. So I will get admission near the city of Helsinki, or the capital. There's only one partner university near the capital region, and that's Arkara. So how can I get admission over there? And finally, thank you for your valuable time and your YouTube channel. That's actually a very good question. And so the thing here is that the pathway program that you're talking about, and if you guys don't know what Rahul is talking about, he's actually talking about the pathway program from the company called Edunation, hashtag not sponsored. I just happen to love the company. So Edunation is a Finnish company kind of offering an alternative way. This is the way that I've always explained this. They kind of offer an alternative way for people, international students, to actually come to study in Finland. And how this works is that when you normally apply to study in Finland, we usually have only one application period or round per year, both for master's and bachelor studies. However, if you want to kind of go around that normal selection process, you can apply through Edunation. And what they do is that they partner up with a number of Finnish universities that you can see a list of here. And they have agreed that these schools will keep a pathway to the basically you can apply through Edunation, and it's much easier, much faster, and if you get admitted, Edunation actually gives you quite a bit of help in terms of, for example, residence permits, travel arrangements, etc. And what Rahul is specifically talking about is this pathway program, which is a really, really cool program that they just updated. So I'm not 100% sure of all the different details. However, the kind of, to summarize this, the pathway program is a 1 semester long program during which you basically prepare yourself to study in Finland. And you study not only English, but you also study different topics in your own field. There's a number of courses that you need to pass with a acceptable grade. And if you actually pass this pathway program, you will be guaranteed an admission to one of these partner schools, depending on the field that you're applying for. So it's a really, really cool way for international students to actually get to Finland, especially if you want to, speed the process up a bit. And if you're not quite sure if you would be able to get admission through the normal process, which can sometimes be a bit difficult. So definitely recommend everyone to check out that pathway program. It's really, really interesting, and you can read more about it on Edunation's website. All right. Let's see. Let's jump really quickly back into the chat because there's actually quite a lot of happening there. And by the way, guys, if you're getting some value out of the stream so far, I would really appreciate if you could just gently tap the like button for the YouTube algorithm gods. that tells them that you guys are actually getting some value out of the video, and it will show the live stream to a bit more people, and I would highly appreciate it. We're currently at 17 likes, and it would be awesome to get to around 50 likes before the end of the stream. Cool. Let's see. Then we have in the chat a lot of things happening. So let's go a bit backwards. Blue Resolve asking, can international students get a job and residency? And should they choose to stay in Finland after studying? Yes, you will. Yes, you will be able to get a job and a residency in Finland, specifically if you find a job. So how this happens is that when you graduate from a Finnish university or University of Applied Sciences, you are allowed to apply for a job. And if you find a job within 1 year of graduation, then you can continue staying in Finland to work. And after a few years, you can then apply for permanent residency. Anita Naik saying, hi Oliver, what's up Anita, welcome to the stream. And Anita asking, any job opportunities in Finland? Definitely, absolutely yes, depending on your field, your expertise, your personal skills, as well as your educational background. But definitely there are a lot of job opportunities in Finland. Blue Resolve also asking, what's the average time to fluency for students seeking to pick up the Finnish language in Finland? Depends. That's a good question. Depends quite a bit on your, I would say, prowess in languages in general. The Finnish language is definitely a difficult language for many. The grammar is quite, even though the Finnish grammar is very, how should I say? It's very structurized, so there's a lot of rules, but the thing is that there's a lot of rules that you need to learn in order to speak kind of book Finnish or the book language. However, the problem comes when people try to learn kind of day-to-day spoken Finnish, because the spoken Finnish is kind of like a slang compared to the kind of official language. And if you speak the official written Finnish language, it sounds really funny to everyone, but everyone of course understands. It's basically the only people who kind of speak really close to the official written language are old people. And then they pester young people when they talk in slang. So that's something to take into account. But I do know people who have picked up on the Finnish language really well in just a couple of years. But of course, it depends on your motivation. You can do anything that you want to if you just study hard enough. I do have a video, actually a couple of videos on the channel about the Finnish language and where to study them for free and what are the best resources for studying Finnish as a student in Finland. So check that out as well, again in the channel that you can check out. And Ahmed Kasu is asking, what are the chances for self-taught software and developers getting employed in Finland? That's a very good question. I would say that depends totally on your skill sets. If you are a world-class developer, then no one cares about your educational background. However, if you are not special in any way, if you don't have a certified degree in software development, it's very difficult to kind of get noticed by Finnish companies, even if you apply all the time. And the thing is that you need to find a job before you can move to Finland, because the Finnish immigration service will not give you a residence permit before you already have a job offer on the table. So that's kind of the difficulty. That's why I tell everyone to come to Finland through university, because that's kind of a guaranteed way for you to get a residence permit to work here if you just finish the degree. Then we have let's see, we have talk about Indians and their applications. And Zoe saying, I'm trying to learn Finnish before I move to Finland this August. What's the best way to learn Finnish in your opinion? Heard there's a huge difference between spoken Finnish and book Finnish. Yes, definitely there are. 2 ways that I would recommend you to do. Number 1, if you know Aleksi himself, I would definitely recommend that you take the Finnish language class that Aleksi teaches on Skillshare. Not on Skillshare, but on his website. It's really good. And the good thing is that Aleksi actually focuses on the spoken Finnish specifically, which is really good. Second, I would Zoe also recommend I have a video as mentioned on the channel. I can actually just show it to you really quickly, super fast, so that we can move on with the questions. If you come to the channel and look for, Finnish. I have a video, best free online tools to learn Finnish before moving to Finland. I have a long list of tools and websites, and the cool thing is that a couple of these courses that are listed here, not only are all of these free, but a couple of these are actually built by Finnish universities. So they're very, very, very high quality. So I would definitely recommend checking these out first. Don't start paying for anything before you have gone through these, because these will get you quite far. And you can test your own motivation by actually starting these first, and then only after that proceeding to paid courses or products. All right. Let's see. All right, let's jump a bit forward. There's a lot of things happening in the chat. So the next question from the forum comes from Nirmal, who comes from India, and Nirmal is applying to study a master's in data science at the Aalto University or the University of Helsinki in the next application period. And the question is, hey Oliver, how much do teaching or research assistants get paid for a course at Aalto? So I think that actually research assistants are paid by the hour. So not per course, but this I think that this depends on the faculty that you would work with. I don't know the exact salary, but I have multiple friends who actually worked as research assistants or course assistants, for example. Just going through and reviewing exams or assignments that have been submitted, and most of them have actually told me that the university pays really well. They actually pay really well compared to what the job actually is. So I definitely recommend everyone to consider applying for a research or course assistant position while you're in school. And basically the best way for you to do this is to contact the professors managing the courses themselves. I think this would be a really, really good option for everyone. Let's see. All right. The next question from the forum comes from Sabur, who's from Pakistan. And Sabur, of course, is a regular on the channel, which is really awesome. And Sabur is starting school this semester, doing his master's in chemistry, which is awesome. And the question is, what is your advice for learning Finnish language more efficiently, as I'm looking to pass the UKI certificate test as well? Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I would say that since you're already starting your school this semester, or this upcoming semester, the best way for you to learn Finnish efficiently is to take as many Finnish language courses at school as possible. Simply, there's a couple of reasons here. First of all, those are free, or they're included in your tuition, so you can take as many as you want. Second, they have the best Finnish language teachers in the world. Third, you will have a class full of international students who are in the same position as you are, so it makes learning easier. Third, you can actually include the Finnish language courses into your degree, so you can actually get study credits from learning Finnish. So you actually spend time learning Finnish, but also spend the same time pushing your studies forward. So that's actually, I think, the best and most efficient way to do it. Of course, again, I think that Alex's course is really, really good because he fully focuses on the spoken Finnish, and that's something that I definitely recommend you to check out. He has a free kind of introductory lecture or course about this topic, and you can check that out for free if you want to, before paying him any money. All right, the next question comes from Charan Pendela, who comes from India, and Charan has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in the master's program at Aalto University in data analytics. And the question is, please explain about the residence process after completing a master's. Sure. So after you complete your degree, let me just pull out a particular website. There we go. So if and when you graduate from school, doesn't matter whether it's a master's or bachelor's, as long as you have done your full degree, the Finnish Immigration Service allows you to apply for a job. So basically you will be able to get a residence permit for a job, 2 ways. So one is, if you have already found a job before graduation, you can then apply for a residence permit for work on the basis of a degree completed in Finland. So basically meaning that if you already have a job before graduation, and this is actually pretty common, and I would definitely recommend that everyone tries to find a job already before graduation, because getting the residence permit, it's much easier this way. So if you already have a job before you graduate, you can actually apply for this residence permit to work based on a degree completed in Finland. And what I've heard from international graduates in Finland is that it's much faster and easier to get the residence permit this way. The second way for you to do it is that if you do not yet have a job after graduation, you will then be able to apply for an extension of 1 year during which you need to find a job. So if you are able to find a job after 1 year of graduation, you can then get the same residence permit to work in Finland afterwards. However, I would always recommend that you try to find a job before graduation because it makes things quite a bit easier. So if you want to look at this website yourself, just Google Migri, which is the Finnish immigration service, after graduation, and it's the first link right here that you can check out, and everything that you need to know is actually right here. All right. Cool. By the way, guys, super quickly, just mentioning in the chat, I would really appreciate if we could keep the discussions in the chat in English, simply because we have such a big number of different people from around the world, and it would be highly, highly appreciated if you could change into English so that everyone could participate in the discussions. And of course, if the discussions are more personal, then I would recommend not having them in the live chat because those stay public afterwards. All right. Also, if you guys want to connect with yourself in the Discord server and you know, continue personal discussions there, in for example in your native languages, that would be highly appreciated. But if you could, guys, please keep the discussions in English in the chat during the live streams, that would be highly, highly appreciated. All right. The next question from the forum comes from Aniket, who comes from India, and Aniket is applying to do a master's in engineering at Aalto University. And the question is, I'm pursuing a 4th year course, and as of now, I'm in 3rd year. Should I apply for a master's now or when? Annika, this is an interesting question. Unfortunately, I have no idea about the kind of 3rd year, 4th year, you know, options. Are you talking about a 3-year bachelor's degree or a 4-year bachelor's degree? I have no idea what the difference is between both of these. But to give you kind of a general answer, to a question here is, I would apply to study in Finland the second that you're eligible to do so. So in order to be eligible to apply for a master's in Finland, you need to have completed a degree in your home country, which would enable you to apply for a master's in your home country as well. So if you, for example, would be able to apply for a master's in your own country or in India after a 3-year degree, then I would apply to Finland after that. No need for you to do a 4th year unless it's mandatory in India. So taking this into account. Eternal Boss, Eternal Boss, thank you for the question. First of all, I have no idea what the question is that you're talking about because you guys have been bombarding the chat, so I have no idea what the question is that you're referring to. This is the reason why I ask everyone to post questions into the Google form, because when the chat gets really busy, first of all, the chat actually cuts at some point, so I cannot get all the way to the beginning. Secondly, it's impossible for me to keep an eye out on the chat while I'm talking and trying to explain things. So this is why I collect the questions into the Google form, because then I will have everything here in Excel in front of me, and I will be able to go through questions one by one in the order that they came. So that is why I would recommend you to post the question in the Google form, just like what it is saying on the screen right now. So yeah, basically I cannot answer your question because I have no idea what it is, because it's you know, mixed up in the discussions in the chat. So unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no. If there is not that many questions in the form, so if you want to have your question answered live today, then I would recommend that you post it into the form right now. It will take me a while to get to your question, but I will be able to answer it today regardless. All right. So the next question from the forum comes from Gleb Drabushev. Gleb Drabushev, who comes from Russia. Awesome. And Gleb is starting school this semester at the Arkada University of Applied Sciences. Congratulations on the admission, by the way. Doing a bachelor's in mechanical and sustainability engineering. Super interesting. Super interesting. And the question or the comment, hey Oliver, thank you for your content. How many years do I have to live and study in Finland to get a citizenship or a permanent residence permit? That's a good question, and I cannot say for sure because it depends a bit on the Finnish Immigration Service and how they define your years that you have been here. So what I can say is that after you have when you come to Finland to study, after graduation, you need to work for, I think, 3 or 4 years full-time in Finland in order to apply for a permanent residency. And after you apply for a permanent residency, then you can apply for a citizenship after a while. Do note that in order for you to get a citizenship in Finland, you need to pass either a Swedish or a Finnish language test. So you need to actually get to a certain language level in order to get a citizenship here. Also, do take into account that this actually happened to a Russian friend of mine who studies in Finland and who just got his citizenship, is that if you become a Finnish citizen before you turn 30, you will be drafted and you have to do a mandatory military service that is from 6 months to 1 year in Finland. I have heard stories about the military services in Russia. Don't worry, it's nothing like that. It's actually pretty nice and really relaxed. It's very substance oriented in Finland. There's, for example, no hazing because that's illegal. However, this is something that you should take into account, that if you want a citizenship before you're 30, you will most likely have to do a military service in Finland as well. All right. But yeah, thank you for the question. That's actually a very good question. That's actually a very good question. Regardless, thank you. I think that actually Alexei himself has a video about this where he goes through the timeline to permanent residency and citizenship a bit more in detail. So I really recommend that you check out Alexei's YouTube channel and the video that he has about the topic. All right. The next question comes from Shock Boss Abdullah. Abdul. All right. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher your name. Shock Boss Abdullah or Abdullah live or live. Shock Boss Abdullah. Sorry, it's impossible to. I'm trying. Sorry. Anyways, Shock Boss comes from Uzbekistan, which is really cool to have people from Uzbekistan in the stream. Welcome. And he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a bachelor's in the Diakonia University of Applied Sciences. Awesome. Specifically in software engineering. Nice. Really great. And the question is, do the universities in Finland accept international students for a bachelor's degree? Can you tell about local jobs in software engineering and how to figure out your life when you first relocate to a new country? Really great questions. There's quite a lot here, so let's try to unpack it one by one. And especially to the last question, I might not be able to give you a long answer here, but I'll try to pinpoint a couple of things. So number one, the question, do universities in Finland accept international students for bachelor's degrees? Some do, some don't. So the question is here, do the universities have English taught bachelor's degrees? Most do have some bachelor's degrees in English. However, the coverage of English taught bachelor's degrees is not as wide or big as the ones that are in Finnish. So this is something that you need to take into account. However, for example, if you want to study software engineering in English in Finland on a bachelor's level, Diakonia is great. Metropolia is, I think, really great. Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. And then, for example, Aalto University, again, which is my institution, #not sponsored. but there definitely are. You just need to find the correct school and make sure that when you read the degree description, that it says that the language of instruction is in English. If it's in Swedish or if it says Finnish/English, that most likely means that it's half and half. So most likely you will not be able to apply. But if the language of instruction is just in English, then you should be able to apply, as an international student. Then to the second question, can you tell about jobs in software engineering? So the current job market in software engineering is absolutely insane. We have a huge shortage of talented software engineers in Finland, especially in kind of new and more fast-growing fields like AI, machine learning, machine vision, automation, robotics, all of this kind of stuff. So I would say that as a general rule of thumb, software engineering and kind of the software in general is the easiest field for international students or graduates to find a job in Finland. However, there's a big disclaimer here. The fact that you have that you would have a degree in software engineering is not a guarantee that you will find a job, because you always have to be good at what you do. I usually use this kind of anecdote that if you have 2 degrees, one or 2 doctoral degrees, one from Harvard and one from Yale, that is really awesome on paper. But if you are a D-bag, no one wants to work with you, or if you simply paid your way to Harvard, you most likely don't have any skills, and that means that no one wants to hire you. So the degree itself and the school doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters in Finland is really your talent and your experience and expertise. So software engineering, absolutely, there are a lot of really good jobs in software engineering, and they're also really highly paid in Finland. However, you always have to be proficient at what you do. Just going through school, barely passing the classes or courses is not, enough. You need to be able to showcase your skills and expertise. So, Then the question: how to figure out, your life when you first relocate to another country? Really great question, and I think that you're taking the first step by being here on the live stream and on the channel, because in my opinion, I'm trying to share information about Finland from the perspective of an international student, for you to be able to assimilate faster into the Finnish culture and integrate into the country. The thing is that the easiest way for you to find your life is through other people. And it doesn't have to be local people necessarily, but it could be also through fellow international students or exchange students. And trying to be as socially active as early as possible, I think, is the best way for you to, kind of find yourself when you come here. And this is also one of the reasons why I really recommend international people to come to Finland through a university, because it kind of forces you to get to know new people, get to move around the city, live in the campus, etc. And that kind of forces you to integrate into the society, and it makes things so much easier compared to if you just come here to work. It's much easier for you to just, stay to yourself and stay at your own place and not really get to know anyone. And that way people really get homesick in a sense. So I think that it's easiest to find yourself through other people when you move. All right, the next question. By the way, stopping super quickly here. For example, Rodrigo, welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here. Tony Kipto, welcome back to the stream. Thanos Riddler, welcome to the stream as well. We have Turbo Kumar Patra. We have Return to Monkey at all cost. What's up? And who else? New people do we have here? We have Harry. What's up, Harry? Lau, thank you so much for trying to keep the chat in order. That is highly appreciated. Guys, if you are new to these live streams or to the channel, first of all, welcome. If we haven't met before, my name is Oliver, and I'm just about to graduate as a master's in economics from Aalto University. in Finland, and on the channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these live streams, I answer your questions about living, studying, and working in Finland. And how these live streams work is that if you want your question answered, please post your question into the Google form, which is linked in the description box below. The reason why I ask everyone to post their questions into the Google form is simply because the chat gets extremely busy during the live streams, and it's impossible for me to follow along. Even though the chat is right next to the camera, it's impossible for me to follow along while I'm trying to explain things and answer questions. And if you post your question into the Google form, I will get all the questions here on my computer, and I will see them in the order that they came in. It makes it so much easier for me to answer all the questions. Amir Aziz, hola, welcome to the stream again. What's up? Hopefully you're doing awesome. Let's see. The next question from the forum comes from Benjamin Dibia, who comes from Spain. And Benjamin is still in high school and interested in a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Nice. And in any school in the Helsinki metropolitan area. Awesome. And the question is, what kind of exams besides Finnish fluency are needed to apply for a Finnish degree in a Finnish university? So basically, all right, I can answer the question, but Benjamin, I can say already here that if you want to study in Finland, unless you are already a native level Finnish speaker, I do not recommend you to apply to study in Finland in Finnish, because it is, unless you are either already almost fluent in Finnish, it's not going to happen. It's extremely difficult to get to study in Finland in Finnish unless you are a native Finnish speaker. The reason being, and kind of referring to your question, so not only do you need to prove your Finnish fluency in a Finnish language test, which are very, very rigorous, that is not going to be enough. So how do you actually apply to study in Finland in Finnish is through the Finnish university application system that is separate from the one that international students use. So for example, in my case, or the Finnish university application system is based on two things. If you want to study in Finnish language, number one, on your Finnish high school final exams, which you don't have, and second, a very rigorous entrance exam. And the entrance exam is separate from the Finnish language exam that you need to also do. And the entrance exam is different for each university depending on the field, and they are based on high school curriculum or high school curriculum books or courses taught in Finnish in Finland. The material is only in Finnish and Swedish, and you can only buy the books from Finland, and you can only do the exam itself in Finnish or Swedish in Finland at a very certain time on 1 day per year. The time for you to read through the materials and learn the stuff by heart for the exams is only a few months, and you have to take into account that you're competing against hundreds and thousands of other people who already have studied the same material, again, because they are based on the high school curriculum in Finland, for 3 years, which is the length of the high school in Finland, and they already speak Finnish fluently. So if you want to study in Finnish in Finland, you need to either be a native speaker or you need to be very close to being native. If not, there's absolutely no way for you to get admitted to study in Finnish in Finland. Please don't even try it. Some people might be able to do it if they're, naturals. However, most people will absolutely waste their time. I would rather recommend that you try to study for the SATs, for example, really, really hard. That is, statistically speaking, you have much better chances of getting admitted to study in Finland by doing really well in SATs. Not sure what kind of exams you need to do for mechanical engineering, but for example, for business, that would be SATs. Again, studying for the SATs is much, much, much easier because there's also international English material. While for the Finnish entrance exams, there's absolutely no way for you to study in English. You have to study the Finnish language material. So it's, no way for you to do it. So I don't recommend it. All right. Anyway, hopefully that gave you an answer. Sorry, it might not have been the answer that you wanted to hear, but that is the truth. And I really don't want you to waste your time, because I've seen a couple of people do it, and it's not worth the time. Definitely not. All right, we have Cynthia. Welcome to the stream. Hey, hopefully you are doing great. Hopefully you are healthy and enjoying the early summer. Cynthia saying, hi Oliver, love your channel. You have so much patience explaining things. Do you have any information about master's degrees in nursing in English? Of course. Cynthia, great question. First of all, thanks for the positive feedback. I do appreciate it. That's a really, really good question. And actually, I do have information in near future. There is actually something very interesting happening in terms of the field of nursing in Finland, but it's not quite there yet. So what I recommend you to do is to Cynthia, of course, follow the channel, but make sure to follow Edunation on social media. Again, if you don't know what Edunation is, it's the Finnish company providing additional ways for international students to apply to study in Finland. # not sponsored. I've heard from, little birds that there's something really interesting brewing with Edunation in terms of this field. I have no idea what that is. I wouldn't be able to tell you. However, there's something really interesting happening. I think that it was Edunation that would be working on this at some point, if I remember correctly. But regardless, something super interesting is happening there. And I think that it's the Finnish government is trying to make it easier for international nurses or nurses from other countries with a degree to come and work in Finland as a nurse. Because now it's quite difficult because you need to be certified to work as a nurse in Finland in the Finnish health care sector. And it's not easy. So yeah, take that into account. But yeah, thank you for the positive feedback. That's highly appreciated, and awesome to have you hanging out here. All right, the next question from the forum comes from Mike from New Zealand. Yes, Mike, welcome to the stream. You hopefully this is the first time you are in the live stream. If not, of course, welcome. But I've been speaking about this for months, that we have seen people from almost every single country in the world except Australia and New Zealand. Welcome. I can tick that box. That's super, super cool. We are basically covering the entire globe now. By the way, love New Zealand. That's one of my bucket list countries. And I will definitely want to go there after the pandemic is over. So Mike, if you have any recommendations for me in terms of what kind of places to go to in New Zealand when planning my travels, I would highly appreciate them. For example, you could send me any recommendations in the Discord server, which we have a link in the description, to which we have a link in the description box below. Yeah, technical booth saying Oliver's expression. Yeah, I've been saying this for months. I want to see someone from New Zealand, because then I know that we're covering the entire globe basically with the live streams. I'm so excited about this. I have no idea why. That's so cool. Anyway, Mike from New Zealand, welcome. And Mike has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in management. Awesome. At Aalto University or at the Hanken University of Economics. Awesome. Both excellent schools. And the question is, how tough is it to get a scholarship in these universities? I have GMAT score of 700. That's actually a very good question, Mike. And this is actually something that I explain every single week to at least a couple of times. The reason why I cannot really say anything here is the minimum requirements for scholarships in Finnish universities is something that the schools do not actually publicize. I think that there's a couple of reasons for this. First of all, they're not required by law to publicize the reasons for why people receive their scholarships. And the second is that they don't only assess your GMAT or SAT scores. Or GRE or GMAT scores. However, of course, those are very, very big portions of your application. However, you have to take into account that when you apply for a master's as an international student, you have to do either the GRE or GMATs and a English. Well, you don't have to do an English proficiency test because you're from an English-speaking country. But you most likely will have to write some kind of a motivation letter. The university will also assess your previous academic records. So basically your GPA, most likely a weighted GPA, so not just a GPA, but a weighted GPA. So basically, which takes into account the number of credits, study credits from each course. So the weighted GPA, your GMAT or GREs, your motivation letter. Some schools actually ask you to send them your CV. So if you have any kind of relevant job experience, that actually might help you as well, etc. So it's impossible for me, unfortunately, to say anything about the GMAT scores. First of all, I've also, as a disclaimer, I've never had to do the GMATs myself because we don't use that in Finland for Finnish students. So it's very difficult for me to put that into perspective. However, I would say that for Aalto and Hanken, it's not easy to get a scholarship, especially for management, because it's such a competitive degree on the master's level. However, it's definitely doable. I have received multiple messages from multiple people already this year who have received full scholarships to Aalto into multiple different programs. So definitely doable, but the exact number of scholarships and what the exact minimum requirements are is unknown to me, unfortunately, simply because it's not public information. Cool. All right. Hopefully, Mike from New Zealand. I'm sorry, I'm such an ass. Hopefully, Mike from New Zealand, that helped you, gave you some context at least. Sorry for not being able to give you a direct answer. Simply, I don't want to lie to you. Or I don't want to guess, basically, because that would put you into the wrong path, basically, in this case. Cynthia with a $10 super chat saying, thanks for the info, Oliver. I'm traveling from Miami, July to Finland, and I've got a place in Kilpisjärvi for Juhannus. Any info about renting a car there? Any tips for the summer? First of all, Cynthia, that is so highly appreciated. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That goes directly into my coffee fund, which I got to fill. Thank you to Alexi himself. I'm not sure if drinking coffee at this late hour is a good idea, but cheers. Excuse me. So Cynthia is talking about Juhannus, which is basically midsummer in Finland. Midsummer is super important for Finns, and basically if you stay in any of the big cities in midsummer, you will notice that they're basically ghost towns because everyone goes out of town during midsummer, which is called Juhannus in Finnish. And for Juhannus, especially, it's super important for Finns to go to the cottage next to a lake, eat late, have a very late dinner, have a bunch of drinks, and play a lot of outside games, what have you, anything that you would, for example, have in the States as well. Sauna is a super important part of Juhannus. We always go to Juhannus sauna to relax and then enjoy the warmth that we already have in Juhannus, because Juhannus is already a very warm part of the Finnish summer, and just enjoy the endless sun, because basically during Juhannus the sun does set, especially in southern Finland, it does set beyond the horizon, but not for long. It just for a couple of hours, and you can actually, if you stay up late enough, you can basically see the sun go down below the horizon, and then just sit. I remember actually a couple of years ago I was at our cottage next to the lake, and the lake was absolutely still. It was like a mirror. Such a serene place, beautiful. Next to our sauna on the what is this called? Let's see, Google Translate super quickly. On the dock next to the beach, I was laying there, absolutely quiet, blank, a completely serene lake, mirroring the trees on the other side of the lake, and I could see the sun go down below the horizon, and after an hour and a half, rise up again, and that was like 5 a.m. In the morning. So beautiful, beautiful. So for summer, definitely try to stay at a cottage or some kind of a summer house as much as possible. Then the second recommendation for you is to definitely try to go to the coast. So either the western coast or the southern coast. And especially if you come to the southern coast around Helsinki, try to get a ferry to the different islands that we have in Helsinki. The Finnish archipelago, especially outside of Helsinki, the capital region, is just absolutely, it's incredible. There's multiple different beautiful restaurants on the islands. On the islands, there's, for example, a UNESCO, what is this called? A UNESCO location, Suomenlinna, which is an old castle or a fort on an island just outside of Helsinki. Beautiful, beautiful picnic location outside of Helsinki if you like that kind of stuff. But then the western coast is also awesome. And then actually I can recommend to you that if you want to check out like kind of the Riviera of Finland, we don't really have a Riviera, but Hanko is the southernmost tip of Finland, and it's on the southwest corner of Finland, right here. So it's just at the tip of Finland, and it's beautiful. It's the only place in Finland where we have these mile-long beaches. They're just white sandy beaches that are super shallow. So you can actually dip in. You can be 200 meters, 300 yards into the sea, and you have only water to the waist. And it's just beautiful because the shallow waters, the water actually heats up really, really, really well. And it's basically the only place in Finland where you can have this true and total and real kind of beach holiday. And there's a lot of people who own yachts or boats. It's a very popular location because you can then from there you can actually take your boat and sail around the Gulf of Finland and Baltic Sea, for example. So it's a really beautiful place. We're actually going there for the weekend, so that's something I'm waiting for. What else? About the cars, so definitely any kind of big rental company, I would recommend. I think that the best way for you to rent a car is simply from the airport, especially if you're not staying for that long of a time, because then you can just drop the car at the airport. Again, no other recommendations there. Any bigger shopping center or an airport or for example a train station, they will have car rentals there, so you should have no problems figuring this out once you've arrived into the country. Then actually after Cynthia, David, thank you so much for joining as a member on the channel. That is highly, highly appreciated. David becoming a Fuxi or a freshman level member, that is highly appreciated. David, if you go to the YouTube channel and check out the channel member page, there are a couple of videos that I have already posted there, but the idea for me is to start posting behind the scenes videos, just something that I take every single day and post more like behind the scenes videos about living in Finland, especially where I live, and trying to kind of show life in Finland around the year and how it changes with the seasons. So go ahead and check it out there. And also I will send you a message on Discord. Ping me on Discord and I will send you a couple of things as well as a resource. So thank you so much for all the support, Cynthia and David. That is highly, highly appreciated. Cool. All right. Moving on. The next question from the forum comes from Fah, who comes from Thailand. And Fah is starting school this semester, doing a master's in data science. Awesome. And the question is, I will study at Helsinki in the next semester. Currently, I am waiting for a student apartment from HOAS. I'm wondering, if I don't like the first choice they pick for me, is it a good idea to cancel and wait for them to pick another one? No. That is actually a very bad idea, and this is actually for everyone who is applying for a student apartment in Finland. don't start being picky about it. The reason is that there is not, even though Finland has one of the best student apartment systems in the world, and I would say that we have some of the highest quality student apartments in the world due to the absurd amount of non-profit organizations that are building student apartments in Finland. They're very affordable as well. Regardless of the amount of apartments, there's simply not enough apartments for every single student that applies for them, and this is the reason why you should not cancel or not accept an apartment when it's offered for you, simply because most of the student apartment providers will not offer you an apartment if you cancel it, or if they do, it might take a year or even more before they offer you a new apartment. So please don't become picky about the apartment, especially Fah, in your case, since you are going to be studying in Helsinki. Again, first of all, congratulations on the admission. Hoas's apartments are located really, really well around the capital region. So no matter the apartment that you get, you will have very, very good connections to your university. Hoas particularly, they try to look for locations that are more suitable for you depending on your university, but they're not always able to accommodate everyone's wishes in that sense. Also, of course, you have to take into account that the further away from the center you go, the cheaper the apartment is, even if the connections are not as good or as fast. So there's kind of it's a two-edged sword, because if you go a bit further away from Helsinki, it takes a bit more time to get to the campus. However, you might be paying 100-200 euros less money for the rent each month. So just take that into account. All right, the next question comes from Behlah, who comes from Pakistan. I hope that I pronounced your name correctly. And Behlah is still in high school, interested in a vocational degree. Cool. And specifically a vocational training for business. And the question is, can you help me out find a vocational training university, and on what basis I could get an admission? And oh yeah, I can speak Finnish too. Oh, that's actually really darn cool. So if you can speak Finnish, this is a completely different question, because then you can apply to different kind of vocational schools. However, we have to define vocational here. So if we're talking about vocational schools per se, like for example, working as a craft, working in construction, working as a what could that be, builder or plumber or this kind of stuff, that is not taught at a university level. Those are vocational schools, which are basically to which you apply before high school, actually. However, if you want to do a vocational or a polytechnical degree, which is a university level degree, you need to apply for a University of Applied Sciences. And if you want to do a degree in business, then you will have multiple different options to choose from. For example, just to name a couple. So if you want to look for universities of applied sciences that teach English language degrees in business, for example, Metropolia. Metropolia is one. Check out Metropolia University of Applied Sciences. We have Arcadia. We have Arcadia University of Applied Sciences, which is a great school as well. What else comes to mind? Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences as well. Check out all three schools, all great in the Helsinki metropolitan area. Highly, highly recommended. And those are kind of more vocational university degrees, and which means that you would only do a bachelor's level degree. So, take that into account. Hopefully that answered your question. I'm not quite sure, but hopefully that did. All right, the next question comes from Sanjit Mahajan. Sanjit Mahajan, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. And Sanjit comes from India and is still in high school and is interested in a bachelor's in business, and specifically interested in Aalto University or any other which has a business degree in English. All right, well, you have a lot of different options. Um, the question is what I have researched is that for non-European unions, the main requirement to get admission is the SATs. I have a problem that they don't look extra curriculars, just the SATs. Yeah, so this is actually a very good point, and this is one of the ways that Finnish universities are quite different, for example, from American colleges. When you apply to study in a Finnish university, the university doesn't give a about your extracurriculars. So basically, if you have done extracurriculars during high school, those will not be counted into your bachelor's admission, simply because in Finland, our education system is completely different compared to the US, for example. The same goes to the Finnish students as well. No matter whether you're the, you know, speaker of the chess club at your local high school, that doesn't matter. The only thing that the universities care about is your academic proficiency, and in this case, that would be measured with your SATs. And unfortunately, that is the way that it works. And I understand that it's unfortunate, especially for people who come from countries where extracurriculars are emphasized. But you know, that's just the way that it is in Finland. All right. Then the next question comes from Parth Shevli, who comes from India as well, and is starting school this semester at the Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, doing a master's in construction. Very good. And the question is, I'm coming to Finland this winter. Can you shed some light on the quarantine rules, and also where can I find a place to complete my quarantine stay? No, unfortunately, Parth, this is a very good question. Unfortunately, the reason why I do not answer any kind of questions regarding the current health situation in the world is because people watch these live streams in replay afterwards, and anything that I say now is going to be old information tomorrow. And that is the reason why I do not want to share any kind of wrong information on here, especially regarding this topic. What I recommend you to do, and everyone to do, if you want to learn or know about the different COVID restrictions and, for example, the quarantine rules, please visit the website of the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. This is our local governmental organization that takes care of all of this. If you just go to the website, thl.fi/en, you will come to the front page of the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. And from the front page, you can actually see latest updates about the COVID situation, and especially the instructions on migrating to Finland. Please visit this website before you are planning to come to Finland, because THL updates this website every single day, and this is the only source for good information on this topic. Please do not follow any kinds of instructions that you get from social media, from any kind of influencers, any kind of blogs or forums, Reddit, or anything like that. Please do not follow anything that they say on those kind of channels. If I say something on the channel about what to do, please do not follow my advice either, because that information is either going to be false or it is going to be old news. Always, always, always go to the original official sources. In this case, the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. They have all the official instructions on what to do and when. All right, the next question comes from Amandeb Singh, Singh, who comes from India as well, and is applying to a selection of schools. Awesome. KAMK University of Applied Sciences, Karelia University of Applied Sciences, Centria, as well as Lapland Universities of Applied Sciences. Awesome. And specifically to do a bachelor's in international business. Nice. The question is, hey Oliver, hope you're doing great in the pandemic, and thanks for coming online again. First of all, thank you very much. I'm doing actually really, really good. Hopefully you are staying safe as well. My question is, which universities moment. talking too much. Right. My question is, which universities of applied sciences will go and open the campus for autumn 2021? I tried to find different sources, but those were mostly in Suomi.fi, so I hope that you will take a few minutes to search online and let me know. Thanks. So yeah, this is a good question, and what I recommend you to do is that this actually applies to everyone else as well. If you want to get information about the situation with COVID in terms of specific schools, please Google the name of the disease and your school. Most universities in Finland have a specific COVID website or COVID web page where they talk about all the recent news and the instructions for their students. And from these web pages, you usually get information about whether or not they're going to actually open up the campus for the next academic year. And this is what I have done in terms of Aalto University. Of course, as an Aalto University student, I also get email notifications about this kind of stuff. However, the current plan for most schools in Finland is to start opening up slowly, starting this autumn. So at least according to Aalto University, and this is just them, they have informed us, the students, that they will start doing some offline courses or studies, starting with smaller classes. And even with the upcoming academic year, most of the first year large courses where you have 300, 200, 400 people at the same time, they will still be online because that is more of a risk than having 30 people in the class at the same time. So I think that this is the direction that we're going to. However, of course, the situation is getting better all the time. Again, knock on the wood, but this is at least the current information that we have. All right, the next question comes from JK from India, and JK is applying for a master's in computer sciences and data science at the University of Helsinki or Arcadia University. Nice. And the question is Arcadia University legal for getting work permits in Finland? Also, how do people survive during the winter? I mean, like, it's for someone who is from a place where it never snows. Great questions. So first of all, to your question, is Arcadia University legal for getting a work permit in Finland? Every single university and University of Applied Sciences in Finland is public. So we have a public university system in Finland. And all the schools that you can apply to are actually publicly funded. There are no private universities in Finland. There's a couple of exceptions, but that's a totally different issue. And yes, every single university that you can apply to in Finland also allows you to get a residence permit in Finland. There's absolutely no exceptions here. So any school that if you're admitted to any school in Finland, you should be able to get a residence permit unless there's a very heavy reason for you not to. For example, if you have a criminal record and that stops you from getting a residence permit here, that's a whole another issue. But unless there's a heavy reason, then you should be getting a residence permit in Finland. There's a couple of things that you need to cover first, but that's again another discussion. And then the funnier question about how do people survive during the winter? By getting used to it. Of course, dressing up really well, that's number one. But you have to take into account that in Finland, everything is built around the seasons. So we have the summer season, spring season, autumn season, and then the winter season. And not only do we take this into account in terms of our buildings, the buildings are extremely well insulated, really well heated. So there's your apartment is going to be the same temperature during midwinter as it is during midsummer. So that's taken care of. Then of course all the public transportation works perfectly during winter as well. So for example, if you think about the United States, where for example school days might be cancelled because of winter, in Finland there's no such thing as school being cancelled because of snow. Everything runs even though we have 20 centimeters of snow in one day. That's normal, nothing to worry about. I would say that there's a couple of things that as international students you need to take into account. Number one is the darkness is definitely something that you will have to get used to. So especially during midwinter, depending on how north you live, because The norther you live, the shorter the days are going to be during the winter, and the longer the days are going to be during the summer. Meaning the shorter, so meaning less sunlight, or longer, the more sunlight. So if you live really, really north in Finland, during the midwinter, there's only going to be a couple of hours of sunlight per day. And that is pretty rough, especially for international students during their first years. And there's a couple of tricks here. First of all, try to get as much sunlight as possible whenever you can. So whenever it's sunny, go outside. Second, vitamin D. It's something that we actually do eat in Finland separately as a vitamin supplement. And then get yourself daylight lights into your apartment. So during the day, already when it gets dark in the afternoon, put on your daylight lights. Usually most of the lights are yellowish, like what we have here, behind me, right here. But what you want to have is have something that is about the same color as the light that we have on my face, so daylight colored. This actually helps you. There's scientific research on this helping you stay awake or more, concentrated. So I think those are the things to take into account. And then, of course, how to dress up and the clothing situation. That is something that I would recommend that you simply try to figure out or get to know Finnish students as well, and ask them for advice on local shops, what kind of clothes to buy, how expensive they are, etc. In addition, Aleksi himself has a really good video on this topic on his channel. I think the video is something like how to survive winter in Finland. Go check that out. It's actually very informative. I really enjoyed it myself. Asar Shah actually has a very good question in the chat. Hey Oliver, is it best to come to Finland for a bachelor's or for a master's? Depends on your field. So you have to take into account that there are more English taught master's degrees in Finland than bachelor's. And with some degrees, with some fields, the amount of or whether or not there is an English taught bachelor's degree is not quite certain. So if you find a bachelor's degree that is taught in Finland, in English in Finland, definitely come here already for your bachelor's, because it means that, you get to come to Finland earlier, which means that you are able to integrate into the society faster, and you also might learn Finnish faster as well. So it's going to be definitely a advantage for you if you want to live in Finland in the long term. What's up? Welcome to the stream. However, if there is no English taught bachelor's degrees in Finland for your field, then of course come to Finland for a master's after you have done your bachelor's. But I would recommend coming to Finland, the earlier the better. However, you have to take into account that for every single field there is no there are not bachelor's degrees in English for every single field. So you have to figure this out first. Fisher Silver, my man, thank you so much for the $5 super chat for your La Torrefazione Trust Fund. Thank you, my man. That is highly appreciated. Fun fact, I'm actually going to get vaccinated in around 2 weeks, and restaurants are about to be opened fully, very slowly, but they are already open, but they're, expanding the hours each day. So I will definitely be able to visit La Terrafazione in a month or so, hopefully. So definitely going to go to my La Terrafazione fund. Thank you, man. That is highly, highly appreciated. All right, awesome. Sorav Srivastav in the chat asking a quick question. Can you please tell me when is the next application process for masters going to start? That's a good question. Whoops, excuse me. That's a good question. The next master's degree application round in Finland is going to start in December. So it's going to be between December and January. So there's only one round per year. Anyway, the next question from the forum comes from Long from Vietnam. And Long is applying for a bachelor's in data sciences. And the question is, excuse me, if SAT 2 will no longer be offered in the future, and I want to apply with my SAT scores in the next semester, how can I apply to Aalto? I'm an international student. All right, so Long, what Long is referring to here is that, excuse me, previously or prior to this year, some universities have been asking you to do the SAT2s or a specific SAT exam. However, that is no longer going to be offered in this year. So the question is, what kind of an SAT do I need to do to apply for a university in Finland, from this year onwards? Good question. No idea. What I can tell you is that this is very well known to the universities, so it's not going to be a problem. However, the problem is that you will not know before. My guess is that you will not know before October, November, or September, October, November, somewhere around those lines. The universities are most likely going to update their application pages with all the necessary information that you need for the applications this year. So I would keep an eye out on the website starting at the end of summer, and you will have plenty of time to reserve yourself SAT tests even after the university updates their website and adds the information about SATs for this year and onwards. So don't worry about it. This is not going to be a problem. The question is going to be what kind of SATs they are going to accept and when is this information going to be updated. But unfortunately, I do not have that information. It's simply not public yet. And I have no insiders. I have no insiders at the university, so can't tell you, unfortunately. Mini Apple saying thank you for the informative stream. You are most welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out. And of course, if you have any questions, there is a Google link to a Google form below. Cool. Then actually, Daniel, if we just jump into the chat for just a while to answer a couple of quick questions here. Orange Machine asking, what about saunas? Are they open? I figured that would be essential businesses in Finland. Saunas are definitely essential businesses. Actually, this is a joke, of course, but, it would have been plausible to have saunas open up before pharmacies. So if pharmacies had, for some reason, had to be closed, saunas would be open anyways. Joking, of course, as many public saunas are actually already open. For example, not necessarily like public saunas where anyone can go, but for example, we have multiple saunas in our building, in our HOAS building, and they were closed for a while during the worst time of the pandemic, but they're all open now, and you can actually go to kind of the public sauna turn, which we have multiple times per year. I'm sorry, per week, where we have open sauna hours that are for men and then women separately, but those are going to be then open now for everyone in the building. Of course, there are open other saunas as well. For example, just outside of my office, there is one of the most famous public saunas in Finland. Beautiful sauna, which actually also has a restaurant called Löyly, and it's right next to the sea, so you can actually go swim directly into the sea from the sauna, and it's actually open already, so that's kind of cool as well. Then we have a question, and super quickly, the problem is that when you guys use your names in we have a question from Nikita Bobarov, I think. Google Translate tells me this. We have a question from Nikita. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for the 200 ruble super chat. That is super highly appreciated. And Nikita has a question. Hey, Oliver, I wanted to ask you about car licenses in Finland. Do you know if foreigners who already have a car license or driver's license have to again pass exams in Finland if they are staying for a long period? Yeah, so Nikita, this is actually a very good question. And I actually previously thought that you would be able to actually drive with your current driver's license in Finland. So that is true. So if you, for example, come on holiday to Finland as an international from abroad, and you have a local driver's license from your country, you are allowed to drive in Finland. However, if you move to Finland permanently or for a longer period, my most recent information is that you need to somehow register or certify yourself to drive in Finland. Unfortunately, Nikita, I'm so sorry, I don't have the answer here. However, Nikita, if you're interested, and this actually applies to everyone. If you are not yet a member of our Discord channel, Discord server, do consider joining. So the idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in living, studying, and working in Finland. And on the server, everyone answers everyone's questions in a more personal manner, and we have a lot of discussions about these topics. And Nikita, if you would please send the same question in the server into any of the channels there, and I will look this up afterwards. I don't remember where to look this information up right now live. So if you want to post this question into the Discord server, I will look up the correct information for you afterwards, because you posted the super chat, and I do appreciate it. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer right now, but I will have that a bit later for you, if that's fine, if that's okay. Then, just one more time during this stream. So guys, since you are interested in coming to Finland, I would really, and you might be interested in actually finding a job in Finland as well. And I would like to note that finding a job as an international student, especially in the beginning, is a bit of a challenge for many people. And I'm currently building a course about, Job Hunting 101 in Finland, together with my old colleague who has over 10 years of experience in the Finnish recruitment market. And the course is going to be about 5 hours of material, talking about everything between the legal rights of job applicants in Finland, all the way to how to prepare for your first day at your new job in Finland. And the course is going to be paid because it's just way too much work for me to do for the YouTube channel. So it is going to pay something. We don't have the exact cost right now, or we don't know how much it's going to cost right now, but it's not going to be too, overly much. And it's going to be affordable for, students. However, the idea of the course is to, make it months and months fast for you, for multiple months faster for you to find a job in Finland. So it should pay itself back right after you get a job. So there's currently a waiting list that I posted into the live chat, and if you're interested to hear more about the course, just sign up for the waiting list. That doesn't mean that you sign up for the course. It's just basically an email list for me, and I will inform you guys a bit more about the course once it's ready to be posted or to be put live. So just letting everyone know. All right, so the next question from the forum comes from Akshay Mandlik, who comes from India. And Akshay is applying to a university, doesn't know which one at this point, to do a master's in renewable energy. Really interesting, super interesting. And the question is, I want to pursue a master's in renewable energy. Please guide me. Thank you for the question, Akshay. This is a very good question. Unfortunately, this is way too broad of a question for me to answer here. What I recommend you to do is to simply Google Finland University Masters or Finland Masters Renewable Energy and start from there. I'm sure, I don't remember by heart, but I'm sure that there are multiple different universities that teach master's degrees in renewable energy. Of course, depends on whether this is going to be a business degree or an engineering degree. So you would need to start looking for the information on Google on your own. I simply cannot help you, find everything step by step. You have to, try to look for at least the initial information on your own. It's simply not possible for me to dig all of it up here, especially live, unfortunately. Sorry about this, but it's just too broad of a question. Warrior Mage in the chat actually talking about the driver's license. About the driver's license, I think if you are from the European Union, you don't even need to change the driver's license, but maybe there are exceptions. This is actually a good point. I'm not 100% sure, but this sounds actually at least it sounds logical. Yeah, Warrior Mage saying that it would make sense since the whole aim of the European Union is to make it easier to live a bit anywhere you want in Europe too. That's absolutely correct. And again, I'm not 100% sure, but this is something that would sound, would make sense to me at least. However, if you come from outside the EU, you most likely have to somehow change your license to a Finnish one. And Again, I don't remember what the process is, but I will look it up if Nikita wants to send me a message on Discord. All right, the next question comes from VVS Raghu, who comes from India as well. And he has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in studying architecture on master's level at the Aalto University. And the question is, hey, I have a question. I'm pursuing a bachelor's in architecture in India, and I want to do my master's in architecture in Finland. Should I learn Finnish language to study for free? No, it's not possible. Do not do it. Please don't even try. If yes, would the teaching be done in Finnish language? Yes. So if you want to if you want to study for free in Finland, the only way for you to do that, or the two ways to do that, is to either get a full tuition fee waiver or full scholarship to study in Finland in English, and then or study in Finland in Finnish. However, studying in Finland in Finnish, if you're not a native Finnish speaker, is not possible. Forget about it. The best way for you to study in Finland for free is to get a full scholarship to your university. This means that you need to be a very good applicant, meaning that you have to focus on your bachelor's degree, especially on your GPA, and then focus on your English language proficiency tests, whether they are IELTS, TOEFL or whatever. And if you need to do, for example, the GMATs or GREs, then focus on those as well. That's the best advice that I can give you. And next question, can you please tell me about the Masters in Architecture program in Aalto University, their scholarships, exams required to write, and minimum GPAs? Unfortunately, no, I'm not that aware. I'm not that deep into the architectural program to take into account that I've done my degree in business. And unfortunately, I cannot give you any more information about this. What I recommend you to do is to simply, if you go to Google, this is actually super simple to get all the information that you need. Aalto Masters Architecture. Look it up on Google, Master's Program in Architecture, and these websites should give you all the information that you need about the costs, the scholarships, the application requirements. Especially if you want to look at the application requirements, come to this program page and click how to apply. And from this page, you will see all the requirements for the application, everything, all the information that you need is on this page. So take that into account. Nikita, once more with a 200 ruble super chat. Thank you so much, man. I really need some kind of a sound effect for super chats. That would be awesome. Regardless, thanks so much, Nikita. That's highly, highly appreciated. I really hope that your name was Nikita. Google Translate at least told me that, which would be unfortunate if not. Regardless, highly appreciated. And the question, could you please tell me more about the car market in Finland? Do you have a lot car rental services? And also, do you have car sharing? And is it more convenient to travel by car in Finland? Really great question. And actually, this is very timely because me and my girlfriend, we're actually buying a car, and the car is already actually in Helsinki, but the car company that sold the car to us actually dinged the car when they were transferring it from one city to Helsinki. And now we have to wait until they fix the car or the bumper, which they nicked, which is completely stupid. Of course, this kind of accidents happen and they're going to pay for it, but really unfortunate because we were supposed to go on a trip this weekend with the new car. So yeah, really great question. So let's take this one by one. So number one, do you have a lot kind of car rental services? Yes, we do have, the usual international car rental services, definitely. I don't recommend using them, especially kind of the normal international car rental services, especially for longer trips because they're very expensive. However, if you want to go, for a trip for a week, for example, into Lapland or somewhere, having your own car and renting your car from these car rental services, completely fine. Usually, most of the car rental services are either in the center of each city, for example, at the main railway stations, that's one, and then at the local airports, that's kind of two. Those are the two biggest places where to rent cars. Then there are a couple of, big shopping centers in each major city, and usually those have some kind of car rental services, but they're not always the case. So definitely, yes, we do have. Just Google car rental in car rental Finland or car rental Helsinki specifically, car rental and the city. That should give you all the different options that you have. But again, they are rather expensive. Kind of as a segue to your second question, and also, do you do car sharing? Yes, we do have some car sharing apps as well. Again, the problem is that the car sharing services are mostly for local driving. So, for example, within city borders, you can always drive out with many of the rental services. I'm sorry, car sharing services. You can drive outside the city borders, but it's most likely going to be as expensive as these car rental services if you have the car for a longer time. So they're optimal if you, for example, want to get a car rental or car sharing service from, for example, from your home to the airport, because that's going to be cheaper than having a taxi. However, for longer trips, it's going to be as expensive as having rental car. And then to the question, is it more convenient to travel by car in Finland? Depends on in which city you are and what kind of trips you want to do. So you have to take into account that, especially considering that you come from Russia, which I guess with the rubles, Finland has an excellent public transportation system. And if you live in any of the major cities, especially if you live in the capital region, there's absolutely no reason for you to have a car, especially as a student. Absolutely no reason. I've done 10 years of I've lived on my own for around 10 years now. I have had absolutely no need for a car until now that, we want to get out of the city with my girlfriend and with our dog a bit more. And especially since we're looking for a house that we might go to the housing market next year to get our own place. So we want to get a car to kind of drive around the place and see what is available. But if you live in any of the big cities, absolutely no reason for a car, especially as a student. Owning a car in Finland is actually really expensive. Not only is gas really expensive, the taxes are quite expensive as well. And for example, just having parking in the center of any big city is also really expensive as well. So unless you really A, like driving and you want to have a car, or B, you really are going to travel a lot with long distances and you want flexibility, unless these are true, I would not consider getting a car, because trains, buses, trams, metros work really well in Finland. So I would take this into account. Great questions though. And Jet Koti actually has a very good point in the chat, saying Helsinki is also a very bike-friendly city. That is absolutely true. And funny thing, during the pandemic, of course, since I didn't really want to go into public transportation, I haven't actually gone to a, used public transit in, I think I went to the metro once when I went to the Otaniemi Aalto University campus half a year ago. But that's like the first time in over a year that I've used the public transit. I've walked around, I've used a bike, and then we have these electrical scooters that are all over the place. And we have a couple of really good electric scooter companies in Finland, and I use them to go everywhere. They're super convenient, and especially in Helsinki, which is pretty concise in its size, you can get really quickly from one place to another with these electric scooters. So definitely recommend it. All right, cool, great, awesome. The next question comes from Chizo, who comes from Morocco, and Chizo has not yet decided whether or not he wants to study in Finland, but is interested in a master's in software engineering or cybersecurity. Awesome. Cybersecurity, very good field in Finland. There's a bunch of really good companies that you could work for. So the question is, next year I will be coming to Finland on a work visa, working as a delivery driver. I have a CS bachelor's degree and I am interested in pursuing a master's program in Finland. Can someone on work visa apply for a master's program? Yes, you can definitely apply for a master's even if you're coming to Finland with a work visa. Your residence permit type doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you can apply to study in Finland. So yes, you can absolutely apply for school. Do take into account that if you are admitted to study in Finland after you have arrived here to work, then you would need to change your residence permit to a residence permit for students. So just take this into account, and that is going to have some kind of a bit of an impact on how much you can actually work per week alongside your studies. But that's, again, that's a different thing altogether. But as a simple answer to your question, yes, you can. David actually having a very good question to the topic that we just discussed about bikes, Helsinki being a bike friendly city. Question: but is the weather also bike friendly during the summer? Yes, absolutely is. Again, I haven't used the public transit in almost a year or over a year. For example, to work, I've either walked, used a bike, or used these electric scooters. Of course, during winter, that's going to be a different case altogether. But basically, you have to take into account that the especially in the south, the months during which we have a lot of snow are usually late December or early January between March. So actually the kind of the snowy months especially in south of Finland are actually quite short. So the quote unquote bike season in Finland starts around April, around early April, and it ends somewhere around November. So you can bike around between this entire season. So it's a very long time that you can bike around. Of course, you need to, during the autumn, you need to have a bit more clothes on, but it's definitely, something that you can do. Good question, though. Next question from the forum comes from Aniket, again, who comes from India. And the question is, bro, my question is, as of now, I do not have a bachelor's degree, but in the end of March or April, I will get my degree certificate. So after April, the timeline will get over. So do I need to do 1 year? Do I need to wait for a year, or what should I do in terms of the admission? So basically saying here that I will get my degree certificate at the end of March or April. And is this too late for sending the degree certificate to the university? So if you are not able to send your degree certificate from your prior degree to the university that you have been admitted to in Finland by the given deadline, then you will need to then they will cancel your admission and you will need to apply again next year. However, I would need to look into your case a bit more just to understand what the deadlines are and what the requirements are, etc. But as a general rule of thumb, if you are not able to deliver the documents by the given deadline, the admission will be cancelled and you need to reapply. Cool. Warrior Mage also saying, check out Sea Line relocation services from Helsinki, Finland. They make it easier for richer foreigners to relocate to Helsinki, but the prices are obviously a bit high. They don't ask for personal ID numbers, just ask for your passport, and I've asked about them, asked about this from them. Cool. All right. So definitely, if that's something that you guys want to actually check out, that's definitely something that you can check out. Actually, talking about Alexi himself, he is actually building yet another course on another topic. He's actually building a course on on moving to Finland. So basically covering everything that you need to know when you want to relocate to Finland. All the mandatory stuff that you need to take into account, where to find an apartment, what kind of electricity agreements or electricity contracts you need to do, how to get a permanent residency, where to go for registering your municipality, etc. And Alex has not yet released that course, but it's going to be super useful, especially for those who are coming to Finland to work, not for school. And hopefully he will be able to release the course soon, and I might be able to share it as well. Nikita once more with a 200 ruble super chat. That is highly appreciated. Just a second with a question. So Nikita saying, I've heard that in the European Union, the demand for used cars is lower than for example in Russia, and for that reason the price for used cars is quite low compared to new ones. Is that true? Thanks for your answers. That's actually a very interesting question. I have not heard of this before. Of course, since we don't necessarily always compare the prices to Russia, but we compare our prices mostly to other European countries. That's a really good question, but yeah, definitely if you want to get a used car, and you know, not talking about a car that is 2 years old, because those are still going to be very expensive. But if we're talking about like a car over 5 years old, over 10 years old, definitely you can get them for a very cheap price. So for example, when we started looking for a car, we actually got ourselves a pretty new car, just a couple of years old. But we actually looked at older used cars when we started, and you know, we were looking at perfectly fine cars for a couple of €1,000, with the taxes weren't actually that high. So the taxes actually depend on the type of power that they have. So whether or not it's a diesel, gasoline, or electric, and that's the main contributor on the tax that you have to pay. And with the electrics having the lowest, of course. But yeah, for a couple of €1,000, you can get a perfectly good car. The only big difference is going to be in the mileage, or in the kilometers driven. So if you want to have something that has, for example, 100K kilometers already in the meter, you can get something like that very cheap. You can actually find even really nice Mercedes, like C-class cars for very cheap if you know, accept the fact that they have been driven a lot. But yeah, definitely used cars, very cheap. There's a lot of different websites where you can actually buy new cars. A couple of really very well trusted websites, basically that people sell their old cars through really big dealerships as well. So those are very reliable. However, the prices are not that much higher than if you would buy from a private person or private individual. So definitely something that you should take into account. David saying that it is good to know that I can continue my Volt bike courier student work in Finland. Absolutely, yeah. And actually that is something that I would really recommend everyone consider, especially if you want a job that is very flexible in terms of the hours that you want to work for, or work during. So if people don't know what Volt is actually a food delivery company. It's actually a Finnish company, and it's one of the fastest growing Finnish companies in you know, it's one of the fastest growing delivery companies in the world, and it's actually from Finland. And they actually pay really, not really well, but quite well for their careers. And the cool thing is that you can decide, of course, when you want to work. So it's very flexible. You can flexibly arrange your work around your studies. So that's actually something that I would recommend. Of course, the pay is not going to be as good as working in your own field. However, you know, that's more flexible, and the barrier of entry, or the requirements for you to work as a career, food career, not that high. So that's really cool. Cool. Anyway, the next question from the forum, moving on with the questions, comes from Stefan from Indonesia. And Stefan is still in high school and interested in doing a degree in economics. And there's a couple of questions here. First, can I ask about the restrictions of COVID-19 of accepting foreign students, which I wanna foreign students, which all right, so can I ask about the restrictions of COVID, how the COVID-19 restrictions are affecting Finnish language courses? So I had recently tried the Finnish Pod 101 language learning, which I'm still learning the basic words, verbs, and other manners of Finnish people. But I want to try to learning offline with professional teachers. And are there any good opportunities that I can learn Finnish language in Finland, such as in Helsinki? This is a great question. Yes, there are. There are, for example, courses arranged by the city of Helsinki. However, the problem is that they don't usually have that many spots during the classes. So in your case, Stefan, what I recommend everyone to do is that if you want to learn Finnish while studying in Finland, so alongside your studies, the best way for you to study Finnish efficiently is to take as many Finnish language courses at the university as possible. A couple of reasons, I've already mentioned these during the live stream. Number one, you have the best teachers in Finnish language teachers in the world. Second, you already have a class full of other international students in the same kind of situation, so you get a lot of peer support. And third, you can then you can actually include the courses into your degree. So by doing those Finnish language courses, you actually go through, you actually get further in your studies. So that's what I would recommend. Plus they're free, or they're included in your tuition fee, so you don't have to pay anything extra for them. However, if you want to have like offline, good quality offline lessons, most of them are paid in Finland, unless you get to the courses organized by the city. However, again, there's not that many spots with those courses, and it's a lucky guess whether or not you're able to apply early enough for them. But I would recommend pursuing the university courses, definitely. The second question, some question I want to ask is, can you get a part-time job in Finland while studying Finnish languages? Because I honestly need to embrace myself and try to explore about Finnish universities and how to become an independent student, because I need to prepare myself even if I'm far from grade 12. Yeah, that's a good question. This is something that people ask me every single week. Let's put it this simply. So as a student in Finland, yes, it's possible for you to find a part-time job. However, it's not easy. The reason why it's not easy is that for international students, most people don't know how the Finnish recruitment market works, and what kind of things to take into account when you apply for jobs, and most importantly, where to find those jobs. So if you can figure all of this out, yes, you can find a part-time job in Finland as a student. However, it's not going to be easy. Cool. All right, guys. At this point, we have gone live for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And usually I would go a bit longer, and we do still have questions in the form. However, unfortunately, today is the semi-finals, or no, not the semi-finals, but the, let's see, we have let's see, we have the, what is this called? We have the Ice Hockey World Championship quarterfinals. Finland is playing the Czech Republic, and the game is going to start in 20 minutes. So I have to end the live stream a bit early, because I have to go home and check the game live. It's going to be super interesting, super exciting, and of course, in terms of Finnish culture, ice hockey is a super important sport in the Finnish culture. It's like American football in the US. It's a part of the Finnish culture. To support your Finnish national hockey team. So unfortunately, I'm sorry for everyone whose question I wasn't able to answer today. There was actually a lot of people online, which I highly appreciate. But I have to end the stream to be able to get home before the game actually starts. And thank you so much for all the great questions. Thank you for hanging out for almost 2.5 hours. And of course, if you didn't get your question answered, or if you still have any questions that you would like to answer, don't worry. Just post your questions into the Google form, and I will start next week's live stream with the questions that were left over from this week. So don't worry, I will get to your question. However, you will have to wait until next week. Orange Machine saying torille, absolutely, which means in Finnish, it's a Finnish term that we mean basically whenever the Finland wins the Ice Hockey World Championship, all of Finland goes outside to literally basically to the market, the local market square, to party, and hopefully we will be able to party this year as well. Anyway, thank you so much for everyone for joining. Of course, if you got some value out of the stream, do remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. And if you have not yet joined our Discord server, do consider joining the Discord server as well for more insights on living, studying, and working in Finland. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.